Good morning, everyone. I am teacher Jade Villar, and I'll be your host for today. Welcome to the Strings Masterclass series of the Summer Out There 2021 International Music Festival. We are now live at the Manila Symphony Orchestra Music Academy YouTube channel. The Strings Masterclass series is being live streamed simultaneously. You may catch other classes at the Manila Symphony Orchestra YouTube channel and the Manila Symphony Junior Orchestra YouTube channel. So now I'd like to welcome our first teacher for today, Mr. Auden Rathnam. Praised by critics worldwide for innate musicianship, brilliant technique, and a sound that recall the great violinist of past generations, Mr. Rathnam is a world-renowned concert violinist, recording artist, and a violin teacher. He received his formal training at Juilliard Pre-College and Mannes College of Music with Sally Thomas and Anne Setzer, returning to the Juilliard School as a full scholarship student of Dorothy DeLay and Masao Kawasaki. He studied chamber music with Julius Levine, Felix Galimier, Joel Smirnov, and Joseph Gingold. He also worked closely with the Danish violinist and pedagogue Anker Book, who is credited by many by bringing Ivan Galamian's teaching to Denmark. Mr. Rathnam's commitment to the development of young talents has led many of his students to be accepted at major conservatories throughout the United States and abroad, several going on to win prizes in national and international music competitions, including the Bischoff, Nielsen, and Queen Elizabeth competition. So for today, we would like to also welcome our first student, Miss Monica Bacchus, and she will play the Adagio and Fugue from Sonata Number 1 by Johann Sebastian Bach.
Now I want to figure out how to get her onto full screen before she starts. Let me just figure this out. If I tap on hers, there we go. Perfect. Good morning, Monica.
Maestro.
Good morning.
The hand got turned around to the left hand at the bottom.
Oh, okay, sorry.
step on the rhythm. Yes, good. Shakira, let's clap for Shakira. That is so cute. And even the whole system.
Bravo, 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 bravo. Very good. Well, Monica, first of all, there's lots of really good things going on with your playing that I enjoy, and I can clearly sense your enjoyment of the work and the fact that you love this music, and that's very important for interpreting it well. So that sense of you being really engaged in what you're doing is so important, and I really like it. Bach is ultimately a very, very personal thing. There are so many different discussions going on about what the best way is to interpret it. And I largely try to stay out of those discussions because I think that it's such great music that it can be performed with a Baroque nod. It can be performed in a more romantic, middle or end of 20th century way. It's just great music. So the variables that are not up for discussion are that it be convincing, that it's in tune, that we have good voice leading, and all of these things. Those are the areas where we can be more. You'll see in all of the great readings of Bach, as different as they may be from one another, they'll share certain things. They'll have great intonation, great rhythm, great voice leading, nice architecture, of the whole, and they'll have that in common. And there are some elements that can help us with that. Now, in the first period of time when I studied Bach as a young man, I would definitely say that approach to playing Bach is looked at by many as being almost like a dinosaur. It grew right out of the readings of Schering and the violinists of that generation. So we really counted out every rhythm in the first movement. And with all of our delving into Baroque practice and so forth, one of the things that I did let go of was the notion that all of those traveling notes in the first movement should be entirely in a strict rhythm. I believe rather that they are connecting figures to harmonic events that happen. Can you play just the first chord and stop? Good. There we have G minor. Now the next chord. Play the next chord. Good. Good. Now the next one. Good. And then last one. Good. Now, notice the descending line to the second one, the ascending line to the third one, and then the slightly descending line to the last one. There's some clues that we can get from an old cello teacher who unfortunately is no longer with us, named Janos Starker, who told a colleague of mine once, in Bach, when the line goes up, we can crescendo. When the line goes down, we can diminuendo. When we approach a dissonant chord, we can crescendo. When we approach a consonant chord, we can diminuendo. And then, so we don't bore everyone to tears, occasionally do the opposite, which I thought was very interesting. If we look at the harmonic tension of those chords, the G minor establishes the key. It's not unimportant, but it does not have as much harmonic tension as the second chord. And the second one certainly does not have as much harmonic tension as the third one. Yet the third one resolves back to G minor for the fourth one. What if we were to react to that a little bit more in terms of your choices of dynamics? Can you try the opening once with that in mind? So with that in mind, what if the second chord was quite a bit stronger than the first, and the third chord quite a bit stronger than the second, and the fourth chord quite a bit weaker than the chord before it, so that we created a longer line? It means you have to keep the sound through certain scales. Da 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 dee 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 ya da dee ya da 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 yum ba da dee da. So dee da 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 dee 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 da. Now even more da 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 dee da dee ya da da ya da da dee da da dee da dee. And the last G chord quite weak. Just try it. You don't have to do this ever, but I want to walk you through the harmonies of the first movement with this in mind. Yeah. Good. Now, notice how long the rest is at the end of it. So now you played that last G chord weak. I would not take a big breath because you want to come in sooner. So with your lungs, actually, make sure that the breath that you take before the up bow G is a short breath, like dee, ba dee da 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 dee. Yeah. And then, yeah. Then looking ahead, if I'm going to grab my music. Hold on. If we react against the harmonic tension, we react. Yeah, so if we react again to the harmonic tension after bar two, that one, yeah, three is actually weaker than the end of bar two. But when you play that second chord into the third chord of bar three, that has a lot more harmonic tension, and I would keep the power in the 16th and 32nd notes that follow, and don't diminuendo until the resolution at the beginning of bar four. So do 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 and last dee 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 da 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 dee da 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 dee. You understand? So this way, you're not making decisions based on copying this artist or copying the other. You're getting your information straight from the score. And I think that you're at a point violinistically where, and technically, where that's going to open up many more new worlds to you than just copying this one or that one. Because ultimately you want to play Bach in a way that suits you. And we'll, of course, we can talk, if you were my student, we would talk about how to end an up bow into a chord. And there might be a couple of studies and some things I could correct with angles. But a masterclass setting, there's not really the time to get into that. And I also don't want to ever deflate a young artist about all of the existing technique that they already have. I want to work with that and make the music be the primary driving force in improving the technique instead of the other way around. Technique is just a means to an end, really. So I feel, there are of course things we could be discussing, but in the first movement, the very first thing I would do, because I'm going to go very shortly into the fugue and spend a lot of time with you on the fugue now, but before we do, the very first thing that I would encourage you to do, because I think you're very bright, and I think you will have no problem doing this, especially because you're right at the end of your undergrad work, right?
Yes, sir.
You've had ear training, music theory, possibly.
Yeah.
You've had all of that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And one of the to give you a very, very important lesson today that I hope will resonate, that took a long time for me because I was sort of a natural violinist. I could play a lot of things with instinct. And so I rebelled against theory and ear training in the beginning. And it was stupid because understanding what's in the score and what causes the music to affect us the way it does gives us the ability to interpret and to interpret in a score-based way. And ear training helps us with intonation, knowing where we are harmonically when we're playing, and knowing the theory, knowing how we move from consonance to dissonance and where we are linearly helps us to understand and defend our choices, our dynamic choices. Because if you look in here, there's hardly any dynamics written, right? And there's no arrows forward or back written. And all we have is this map. So our first inclination is to put a metronome on and play exactly what's on the printed page. And we learn very quickly that while that might give us some technical control, it's extremely boring, right? So that we have to assume that a lot of these faster note figures, these transport passages, have some level of flexibility. So what are the three things that those transport passages can do rhythmically? They can either remain the same, speed up, or slow down, right? And what are the three things they can do dynamically? They can remain the same, diminuendo, or crescendo. Think about that, right? And what we choose to do with them in regards to their dynamic and their rhythmic pacing has to do with what landmarks harmonically we're headed towards. So the big chords, I would go through the whole thing and do a harmonic analysis in your head of what the big chords, or write it down even, what the big chords are. And then understand whether they're dominant, tonic, whether they are highly dissonant, like some of the augmented chords and the diminished chords, and plan your dynamic pacing and rhythmic pacing according to that. Does that make any sense?
Yes. Yes.
And not according to anything that any teacher tells you. No. It's time for you to start discovering the willfulness of the musician that's inside of you based on careful study. You understand? So if you were my student, I would help you with tools, right? But the interpretation has to be something we discuss, because if you're not fully behind it and you're not fully convinced of it, you'll never play it as convincingly as if you chose it. And I think that's where you're at, because you have good fundamental chops. You can get around the instrument well, and so forth. So that's what I would really be working with you on in your Bach. I would be asking you questions, and I would be making you defend your choices. And you think, is he telling me I'm wrong? No, I'm just saying maybe you haven't given that thought yet and made a really thought-based decision on it. Just did it because somebody told you. And look, whoever's been coaching you has coached you very well. A lot of the choices are really good. But I think there's more hiding here. Much more hiding here. And it does feel a little bit with repertoire when we're, especially when we're younger students, like the whole thing's a big cruel riddle, right? So that without getting into the gory details of the Bach and the voicing and all of that stuff, Miss DeLay always asked me with students when I heard them to say the one or two most important things that might really set off something in their head that would bring them to the next level with it. And with that first movement, that's what I think it is for you. Okay. So forgive me if I'm not going to get into as much depth of that. I gave you an outline of what I would work very hard on if we had many, many hours. But because I think your fugue deserves some attention, I thought we should move on to that, okay? And let's just discuss. Can you play the 9 notes that constitute the fugue theme for me? You played 10. That G at the end is the first note of the next voice. Yeah, there's 9 notes. Okay. Now, if we could discuss establishing a fairly consistent gesture musically for your fugue statement, and if we then could stick to that gesture, you would already create one thing that makes it sound more consistent all the way through. Okay. And I'll just give you one that was given to me. If we can travel, save, travel, travel, less, more, most, then we diminuendo. Bum, 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 beep, bum, 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 bum. And I would also like to ask you just, even though I'm a Galamian, very much a Galamian lover and love Galamian, I would like to ask you, just as an experiment, to try up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. As it comes, no hooked poems. Stop. Good. Let's do that a few times because I want to get you in the habit of, when you get done, setting up the next trend but not playing it. Bum, 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 beam, beep, bum, 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 bum. Good. Now don't diminuendo too fast because you want to have enough sound that the diminuendo is organic, not just suddenly weaker. So when you got to the re, do, ti, do, la, si, do, ti, do, la, si, here. Not too weak because you still have to get weaker to the last note. So don't do it all at once, all of a sudden louder and then let too sudden. So everything, the crescendo organic, next voice, and wait, set it up, same way. So for now, we're going to pause before every new fugue statement and set up the arm and make sure that the end of every fugue statement, we end the phrase. It's a big thing. If you would just, it will save you when you get to the loudest parts of the fugue that can be so tiring. If you don't have those diminuendos at the end, you're going to kill yourself. That's why we get so tired, because Bach is cruel. He doesn't introduce a whole lot of 4-part fugue writing until we're already tired. Right? So you want to make sure that you stay in control of your emotions in this movement. This is very important while you're practicing it. Then you can let go and play like you don't give a damn in concert because you've done all the work and you have to trust it and give. But in the practice room, I would force yourself when you go through this fugue so that you don't get tight to diminuendo and pause at the end of every fugue statement. When you practice it, it'll get so much more, your body will calm down. You'll set up the next things, you'll breathe more. And then you want to mark those diminuendos. You would want to mark this one, and then this one. You want to mark that one, and then this one, that one, and then this is also it's not a crescendo. I wouldn't go. It's a phrase ending. I do the exact opposite. And this one, light, not hoarse, then more. Now middle string, D string, now E string. Yeah, so we hear, and this one. So that's why we need to pause. All I want to do with this today is work with you on how to very mindfully practice this fugue. I'm not going to argue with you about interpretation, really, not a whole lot. A few places I might make a few suggestions, but okay. But if we can improve that, because when you slow it down like this and you really, really concentrate, you'll have time to get your correlation right. You need to make sure that the fingers are ready before the bow and the bow is ready before the sound, and that all of the sounds are releases. Release, 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 release. Otherwise you get tight, all right? Even the vibrato is a release. Just release, you know? Not a big deal. Okay, so let's do each statement and pause. And don't worry about don't worry so much about that collé and the stroke for that. I would rather have legato bow changes and tiny accents in the elbow joint. Da da dum dim bum. I think it's more correct. I love that as a teaching tool, what you did, but I think in a dry room especially, that will sound a little bit hard to the ear. So we can use, I love catch and release, don't get me wrong, but you know how in Tagalog you have hard consonants, K's, P's, and T's. But what about the G, ya, wa, la? What about all of your soft consonants? Well, Bach has those too. And I think that we should be careful not to only use K's, P's, and T's, but we can use soft K's, which are G's, right? Soft P's, which are B's, soft T's, which are D's. Think about that. And we can even soften them further into the realm of our M's, our N's, our L's, our W's, our Y's, ya, wa, la, ma, na. I think personally, in interesting violin playing, all of my favorite artists, I got all of that. I got the hard consonants when I need them. I got the soft ones when I need them. And for you, I would like to introduce the notion that you could use more of your soft consonants mixed in. That'll only make the hard consonants stick out even nicer when you need them for that. So with this bowing that I've given you, where we will be, by the way, using this in the fugue as well. Don't worry, later there are places where we kind of have to, but I like this bowing in its simplicity, and it's what's in the manuscript too, by the way. If you go to the back of the Galamian book and look at the facsimile of the manuscript, you'll see that there's no hooked bowing mark. It was played as it came. Yeah. So, yep, let's try one more time. So a little more straight and less. That one, you need it. There, I don't do that separate. I do up, up, down. And again, I do this hooked in so that comes up bow. So I don't do this to the note. I don't put an accent on it. Yeah. Up bow, up bow. Start the new phrase up again. So you have and up, Even this one could be separate. If you even do the third one backwards, the phrase ending works better. So you could do this separate up, because this is more, less, less, and less. All right, and then another new idea. If it makes any sense to you harmonically. So I look, I learned all these Galamian bowings inside out, but I don't want you to get boxed in by them at all. They're great, and it's great to learn them that way and to learn those skills that go along with that. But when it comes to interpreting it and to getting the shapes out, sometimes I feel like if every cadence ends on a down bow, how are we supposed to constantly, even with nerves under pressure in a concert, remember to diminuendo phrase endings into these down bows? If it's a yup up bomb, or I somehow feel that this works better than, yeah, if you understand what I mean. It's just from my taste. So we resist the temptation to just do that bowing all the time, but this, or if you do, just make this stronger, less, and the phrase. Do you understand? Don't do, then it becomes that harsh square New York thing. It was really big in New York at Juilliard, all these hard beats and not good. And I really think we should really explore legato connections to the chords a lot more times. That we can get pull, don't force, you know? Not, you hear the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. Believe me, I mean, I went through that whole schooling, and years I played it like that, and then I'd get back my recordings and I'd hate them. And then finally I started listening to some Europeans that were doing it very lightly. I've listened to Augustine Hadlick play it, really balanced in the pinky on many of the down bow chords and lighter. So you don't have, you can doesn't have to be nearly as forced. Yeah. So let's one more time. Now there you have three. Yeah, so there, use less bow on this one. Then more. Don't use so much on the first because you have three of them. So on the first one here, slow your bow speed a little bit, but stay light. Then more. Yeah, then open up. Good. Now, can I show you one technical thing? I want to show you one technical thing because remember I said I didn't want to show you a lot. When you take your chords, you sometimes take them quite outward. If your beginning chords, you use the windshield wiper so that the beginning angle in your finger, use your fingers to bring the angle a little bit more that way, you'll like the beginning of your chords better. The beginning of them. Yes, the angle inward at the beginning of the chord. You're pushing out too soon. And that makes it, yes, if you grab them from a more inward angle and keep your right arm out to your right side more and your wrist lower, bring it out, open up your collarbone a little bit more and bring it back so that your angle becomes, in your mind, this is not right, but in your mind, this. In your mind, this. To correct for when you did too much this. Just to make it more parallels. The beginning of those chords could be more in and then relax. Don't force them. Balance the bow in your pinky. Yep. So from here, this one, this chord, this chord, this chord, and this one, and this one. Think of the angle having a little bit more inward. So do this with your bow first for me. Hold it in front of your face and show me a windshield wiper. So don't do it. Yeah, keep the hair facing you when you do it though. Keep the hair right in front of your nose. Now just move the bow a little bit to either side with the hair facing you both times so that you isolate that feeling of rocking across the thumb. Could you feel that when your bow goes to your left, you're more in the center of your thumb? Okay, that's the angle you need at the beginning of your chords. They will scratch much less. Your springs will work much better. All of those chords. Good. Now, even though you're using less bow, slow the bow enough that it's not a short stroke. That it's still long. Beam, bom, beam, bom, beam, bom, bom, bom. Even though you're, and keep your elbow out to your right more, not like this. Look, sweetie, you're like this. Okay, you're gonna feel crunched in your shoulder. Out there, open up a little bit. That your elbow is not as in front of your body, and raise it a little bit higher. Out to your right, to your right. Let your arm be further out to the right. Bring that. It's almost like pulling a bow and arrow back this way a little bit more of that angle, just a little bit more. Yeah. Start from further in. We push out mostly from the middle to the tip. That's where you have to push your arm out. People make a mistake about that. It actually should feel more in, straight, out, straight, in. People forget in. To come in the other way, the opposite of out, on the especially the half of the bow from the middle to the frog to come in. So the elbow moves from more in front of you to actually that way a little bit more. Your bow will track much nicer, closer to the bridge and your angle. So you almost want to make the angle, instead of this, a little more this. Yeah, can you watch your sounding point? Don't watch me. Watch your sounding point. Now look up at your tip. Look at your tip of your bow. No, put your bow here and look at the tip. Now move the tip away from your head that way more. Yeah, back it up that way. Right, now raise your elbow a little bit so you're on the same plane of the strings you want to play on, and back up the bow that way. And back up a little more. Back it up. Back up your arm a little bit. Yeah, yes. That's the angle for the attack of the chords. It'll be much, much more beautiful if you can get used to that. Okay, that's something to think about as you prepare those up bows, that you're not too far like this, but you're more like that. Yeah, try it now from the third one. Yeah, from there. Now, good. That what you just played is called the first episode. There are several episodes in this piece. There's your first episode of the this whole thing. That's your first episode, right? And then comes the first instance of where we're feeling strong beats, not fugue statement, but chords on strong beats. Bum, 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 right? So when you play this episode, I like all of the notes that you brought up beautifully. But don't forget that they're just simple détachés. You don't have to play everything that you're bringing out longer to bring it out. You can just emphasize it a little bit and still have. So I want you to have the freedom to shape like you did. But I think you bowed a little bit more in the realm of Schumann, Brahms, those composers. Let's remember just a simple détaché. Yeah. Go ahead.
Um,
Yes. Okay, good. But wait. Be careful not to go ika uppa at the end. Yada dee da dee bum. Yada dee da dee bum. If you're playing in a very acoustically bright hall, you'll get away with that and it won't matter. If you play in anything less than a great hall, that won't really work as well because there's not as much quality on each stroke. Think about having every note have quality. The E flat, the D. And don't bow ahead of your fingers there, or in what follows. Fingers first, bow second. Fingers first. Have your fingers set just an instant before the bow, and the bow set just an instant before the sound. Then everything will feel slower. So more and less. Yeah, longer. Yeah, more release. Then place. Don't give away the forte. Yeah, Monica, don't give away the forte. You did this. Right? Yeah, make the third one more legato. Good. I don't mind if this is a little bit militant, you know, but this should be more legato. Yeah, a little more. Yeah, a little more lyrical when you get to that, the third one. Good. Now here, look, show this. More in. Not this, but in. Keep the angle in on that up bow into the pivot. Yeah? Show me that. Yes, it's cleaner. Good. Bravo. So it's in order to fix those down bow angles, it's the end of your up bow angles you have to fix. You get it? It's the preparation angle before you get to it. That's much better. Did you hear the cleanliness that came in that stroke? Yeah, makes you smile, right? Makes you happy. See, that's my business. I'm in the business of making you happy because you're controlling your sound. Galamian technique, and what I teach, is all about controlling the sound in the context of time. And when you give somebody control over their own sound so that you can play the way you want to play, and you don't have to say after the concert to the audience, you know what I mean? That's terrible. No, play it the way you mean it. But if you have the control to play the way you mean it, that's going to make you happy. That's what I want. I don't want you to play it like me. I want you to be able to play it the way you want to and not to have anything holding you back. So that was my one little technical thing for you to watch out for in your chords. You should study Kreutzer number 37, please. Kreutzer number 7, the F minor, to work on that. Because you have all up bows preparing chords. That will help you with your chord preparation to fix the angle of the bow at the end of the up bow, that you're not out here and pressed in the index finger, but that you're here and balanced in the little finger at the frog. The way the music is notated is that the chords start pianissimo and crescendo. They start soft, loud, forte, piano, So that will get you out of the habit of crunching on the down bow, and you'll see it'll help the evenness of your chords. All right, that and number 35, which teaches you to have power at the tip and scoop and relax at the frog. Those two will even out your chord playing a lot. They'll go a long way towards teaching you that balance of the hand between the pinky and the index finger for that. Now let's go to a place further along in the fugue. When you're playing this second episode, this whole thing, okay? I would like you to think of having the bow on the string where the voice leading is. Your arm. Keep your arm here. Then here, E string height, the third set. So your first chords, keep your arm on the D string for the first two sets. Yeah, show me that. Yep. Stay there. Stay on the E string playing more for the one when you want to bring that out more. Now, to that, let's slow the end of the stroke so it's more legato. Oh, but wait, what is that? What are the last 5 notes that you play? Phrase ending. Stronger and less. Yeah. So I want to give you these diminuendos because they'll save you a lot of strength. Okay. Now let's find the next one. This one that you did, maybe not as short. And the reason I suggest that is because I want to teach you, again, a correlation, an order of actions. The string crossings have to be before the strokes. Get to the plane you're going to be on before you do the stroke, and then focus on smoothing that up a little bit. May I hear that? Yeah. Okay, next exercise. I want you to practice this week Roman numeral 4 of Schradieck Book 1 for your string crossings, so that you start using your wrist and fingers more for your crossings instead of the whole arm. You got to use this more. Use that more for. Don't use your arm, your shoulder so much to cross the strings. Use your elbow to do the strokes and use your wrist and fingers to do the crossings. You'll be much smoother. Try it. Try it. Now, remember, that's a phrase ending too, in a way. You don't need to have a lot of bow on that low D, as long as you have good bass sounding core. As long as you vibrate it, the bow speed on that low D could be a little bit slower, and you could then use more bow speed up to the high D. work so hard. Wait, sweetheart. Monica, you sound great, but it's much easier for you than that. Play it like it was just a Brandenburg concerto, tutti in a group. Easy here, not like Brahms. Let the fiddle play for you. Let the fiddle play for you, and let your arm weight relax. You sound plenty big enough. Make a nice sound. Don't worry about making a big sound. Free sound. Again, here, I would just do here. A little difference between them is plenty. You don't have to totally alter the stroke. I like the idea of one being different from the other, all right? But simpler. And then when you get to this, that's a phrase ending. Don't go, I wouldn't do that. It's a phrase ending because this is the new phrase that's starting. Don't go all the way up to the frog for that chord. You don't need to. Yeah. So you see how the phrase and finding the diminuendos before the things. So show me this, for example. Show me. Most, then less, then least, then more, there, the less here, then get longer. Then you'll be much less tired, much less tired. So dynamic pacing here will teach you, and I want to get you out of the habit of going up like this to your chords. Look, you want the shape of the chords to be, when you're set up, to be flat wristed. Relax, don't grip the bow so tightly. Curl your fingers, but don't grip the bow so tightly. You want the hand to be relatively flat at the beginning of the chord before you take the chords, and further in than you think. So your elbow tends to be a little low and in front of your body. It should be a little higher to the side of your body so that you can be closer to the bridge and have the right angle. Yeah. Sometimes I have students that have way too high an elbow, have to drop it. Yours, in some cases, could be a little bit more open and out, back it up a little bit. Yeah. But look, I wish we had all day, but we're already at 10 o'clock now. So we're going to have to, unfortunately, stop. But what I would give you as a riddle is, Monica, look ahead in the fugue to where we are and mark, first of all, every fugue diminuendo at the 7th, 8th, 9th notes. Bum, bum, bum. And you will learn, and then pause, and then set up the next note early. If you do that, this will all become so much clearer, and you won't be so tired. When you want to get loud at the end, before I let you go, this, you know, when you get to this, just make it broader. Don't think louder. It'll get louder by itself. So start with support. So that you don't get muscle bound. Yeah? You understand?
Yes, sir.
Good. Bravo. You sound fantastic. Really.
Thank you.
Pleasure to hear you. Really. Beautiful, beautiful playing.
Thank you so much for all the lessons, sir.
You're welcome.
I learned a lot.
Good.
Thank you, Odin.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now
Thank you, Mon. Congrats, Mon.
Thank you. Thank you, Sir Jeff. Bye-bye po.
Jeffrey, I'm going to see if I can get on this next login quicker than I did yesterday night.
Yeah, I'll see you. I'll see you in the other room. Bye-bye.
All right. Sounds good.
Congratulations,
Bye now. See you, Monica. Bravo.
Monica.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Sir Odin.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
All right, we now move on to our next class. for this one, we'd like to welcome back our cello teacher, Dr. Kimberly Patterson Sutton. Hailed by the Chicago Sun-Times as superb cellist, Dr. Kimberly Patterson has earned recognition for her artistry as a solo, chamber, and orchestra musician. She is the assistant professor of cello at the University of Memphis and the cellist of the Cerruti Quartet, Quartet in Residence at the University of Memphis, ah, Quartet Quartet in Residence at the University of Memphis. She is also the cellist of the Patterson Sutton Cello and Guitar Duo. Their debut album, called Dark Matter, Music for Cello and Guitar, was released by MSR Records in 2013. In 2014, she was part of the group of musicians from Cultures in Harmony that gave performances and master classes around the Philippines. And in 2017, she returned to be the soloist of the Manila Symphony Orchestra and gave master classes to MSO and MSJO members. So, welcome back, Dr. Kimberly Patterson.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here. I think I have, is it Tatum as the first?
Yes.
I would say only, I mean.
Yes. So our next student is Tatum Julia Bao, and she will be performing Minuet 1 and 2 from Suite Number 1 of Johann Sebastian Bach.
Awesome. It's really nice to be here. And I was, it's funny. I was just looking at the participant list, and I see a few names that I know, but one of them is Arnold, and I'm assuming that Tatum studies with Arnold. But we'll see. Yeah, you do? Yay! You have an awesome teacher. I love Arnold. I first met him in, gosh, I think it was like 2014. And then we've kept in touch, and he's an awesome cellist. He's an awesome teacher. You're in great hands. It's wonderful. That's really, really great. So it's really lovely to hear that, and it's lovely to meet you, Tatum. How long have you been playing?
I started playing in 2014. So it's been
In when?
2014.
All right, cool. All right. So how long have you been playing the minuets for?
My piece, I started it at least 1 month ago.
1 month?
I practiced it at least 1 month ago.
Okay, cool. I apologize if I repeat what you say to make sure it's a little echoey where you are. I'm having a little trouble hearing. But that means that it's going to be great for cello playing. So let's play some minuets. bravo. That was awesome. You have a really natural ability around the cello, but you have such a natural lyrical way of playing. It's really refreshing, and I love the way you phrase everything off of the downbeat. Yada bum ba ba da 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 ba ba da da da. You making it so clear for your audience, and as an audience member, I'm not second guessing what you're doing. It's so obvious your intentions, and I appreciate that. It's really, really lovely. You like playing cello, and you like playing Bach. I can tell. It's awesome. It's really, really awesome. Okay, now, with that being said, with all the beautiful things that you're doing, I think that one thing that's kind of taking away from that beauty is I like the tempo in a way, but I also think it's almost just a couple clicks too fast in that you're not able to control it too well. You're smiling, meaning that either someone has said that to you or you believe that, or you're understanding what I'm saying.
Because kind of fast.
Yeah, it's kind of fast. And I understand nerves play a part in things, but we have to remember character. And I think, yes, it's joyful and it's happy, but it's not joyful and frenetic, right? It's not joyful and manic, but it's like you're taking in all of the beauty and you don't want those moments to pass you by. So we don't want it to be fleeting. We don't want it to go so fast that we don't remember anything. We want to remember those moments of joy. So can we take it from the beginning? There's a little bit of a dance element because these are dances, right? If I were to dance to your minuet tempo, I would be tripping over my feet because it's so fast. So you have to remember that you have to be gentle and kind to the people that are supposedly dancing to you. Try that. Good. All right. Now, what I think, I love the beginning measure. What starts to push it is this. Each new bow starts to get a little faster and faster and faster instead of. What I hear from you is it's nipping at the heels and getting faster and faster and faster. So I want to feel bottom, 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 bottom. We can go faster, but it has to be more of a bigger effort, not by beat by beat by beat. Yeah, okay, good. All right, now, I can tell that you weren't in love with that. So let's make it a little bit more character infused. Can we get a little bit more elbow going in with so that we have a little bit more arm going back and forth instead of you playing like, all right, I'm playing it in time and this doesn't sound great or nor does it feel great. So let's get some character going so that the arm is kind of swaying. Yeah, that was great. See, this is a moment where I kind of hate being on Zoom because everyone's muted. And I know if everyone is unmuted, they would agree with me that that was significantly different. That was awesome. Like it wasn't rushing, but it had a ton of character. How did that feel?
Great.
Good. Okay, good. Yeah, it sounded great. Okay, now let's go on after, play the trill measure, the half note, the chord, and let's go on. That was good. Great. Now, here, I want you to live in the moment. Yum, bum, bum. Instead of, yes, that D goes on. Yes, all the music goes on, but I want to feel, yum, bum, bum. Like we could essentially end this minuet with that chord, right? With those three notes. So try one more time, that measure. Bum, bum, bum. And then don't go on. Do it one more time, and don't go on. So D, A, D, stop. Do it again, because I could see and I could feel you wanting to move to the next. Yes. Okay. That's essentially what it is. It's a cadence, right? So bum, 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 bottom, but we have to make sure we end things. I'm bringing this up only because this applies to it, but a few years ago, I saw Yo-Yo Ma play all the 6 suites in concert in Colorado at a really big outdoor amphitheater, and 10,000 people show up for one cellist, which was just mind-boggling to me. Like one cellist sells out this whole arena. And it was really interesting to me because not only did he do all the 6 suites, everything from memory, every single repeat, but because he was doing every single repeat and moving into each movement, like basically a taka, that kind of changed how he was ending things, how he was cadencing. But what was really interesting to me is that he was not only playing for the audience, he wasn't playing at the audience. So he was drawing us into his sound and he was letting things take their time to end. So for instance, this place, it needs to end, right? We're not in a rush to move on. It's a clear cadence. And I think we need to give it that time. So let's, why don't you start from measure 5 and we can go on throughout through measure 9, but let's make sure we think bum, 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 and then move on. Beautiful. Okay, I really like that. Now I get to be really picky because you're playing this really beautiful. Do you have measure numbers? I know you're playing things from memory, so bravo on that one. But do you have measure numbers in your music?
I have my piece in front of me.
Say that again?
I have my piece in front of me.
Oh, okay. So in measure 22, when we have this, it's a little sloppy. I hear your slides. I'm hearing, or maybe it's this. What are you doing for a fingering?
I switch in the A string to 2 in the B.
So you're going 1 4 1 and then 2 1 4. Okay, so what I need is this. They need to be separate. So the slur needs to end. Your bow needs to stop. The left hand moves. Then
Recording in progress.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is that the bow is still continuing as you're trying to shift. So I'm getting this type of thing. It sounds sloppy, but it's also not in the style. Oh, wait a minute. So are you doing are you slurring 3 or are you slurring 4 to a bow?
4 in the bow.
Try, because it goes along with everything else. Try slurring 3. So you're going to do slur, up, down, up. Yeah. Yeah, that helps the shift. And I think that's what you were doing before. I think you were doing a lot of slurs of 3 notes, right? Yeah, if you were doing 3 notes, then yes. If not, then you and Arnold can have a talk and forget whatever I said. It just needs to be clean, okay? All right, so try one more time. So I want cleanliness. was really great. Okay, now let's go on to this next part. So minuet 2, what's your character?
Kind of sad.
Yeah, it's definitely sad. Is it what else besides sad are you thinking?
It's softer compared to Minuet 1
Why is it softer?
because maybe it's in a minor because it's in a minor key.
Yeah, it's a minor, it's more inward, right? It's not as jubilant and overt as this beginning minuet, which is in major. This one is more meditative, it's more inward, it's not necessarily depressing, but it's like it's our own thoughts, right? And it's ours. And I think that's what makes it a little bit more vulnerable, I'd say, to play than the first minuet. The first minuet, it's it's joyful and happy, it's easy. This one, it's like somebody can see inside us of what we're feeling and what we're thinking, and that's what makes it a little bit more scary to play in some ways. But I think it's what makes it so beautiful, is bringing out that delicate nature of it. And I love what you're saying about having the dynamic be less and not as loud, but there's so much you can do with it. I just played it completely different than I did yesterday. But yeah, I like that. So don't shy away from getting soft. I think a lot of cellists and string players, it's scary to play soft because it's vulnerable, but that's where the magic happens. So let's try this. Yeah, good. Now, what I'm noticing is I hear there's kind of sounds like a lot of hoppiness to the articulation. Is that what you want? I think the hoppiness is fine as long as it doesn't rush all the time. I think we can feel as long as that hoppiness feels like it has a place instead of you know what I mean?
Yes.
Try it for me. Great, Tatum, same thing right there. I need to hear. So fingering wise, I would make sure that we're not sliding in the middle of a slur. So something like 1-4-4-1 would be better. Yeah, so what I mean is, excuse me, it's this 1-4, and then shift down 4-1. Good. Do me a favor. Do what you were doing before. I just want to see something. Can you do that fingering again, but without a slide? Oh, so you're ending on a 2. I see. Okay. So what I would do is in this measure with the E flat, then going to the D, go to a 3. Then you're in position. 3-1-4. Yeah, so that whole measure, which for me is measure 14 from the E flat, it's going to be 1-4, 101. Last note, the D is a 3. Next measure, 15. 1 4 4 1, which is an extended 1. And then I don't care what you do, a 3 or a 2. 3A 1 2 D 2 2, whatever you want. 3 or 2 are interchangeable at that point. Try this all again for me. Good. Now take it from measure 14 from the E flat. So it's just the measure before that. That's a lot cleaner. Yeah. Just so you know, you're still doing 1 4. Try doing 1 3. But the way you did it worked. So I'm not going to touch it too much. So if it works, it works. I firmly believe that. And you have to remember the anatomy of females and males are different. Our hand sizes, our shapes are much different. A lot of male hands are much bigger than female hands. And some things we just can't do. And it all depends on what actually fits within our hand. And so I really believe that there's no one fingering for any cellist. There's just not. And there's no point. I think for so many times we beat ourselves up trying to do a certain fingering when it just doesn't work for our hands. So it's got to be at the end of the day, whatever sounds best and what you can do. As long as I don't hear the fingering, I don't care. As long as, also if it's not just like 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 everywhere too. But anyway, let's do it one more time and go on.
Measure 14.
Yes, please. Great. Can you take the repeat for that? Yeah, that was great. Good. Let's go on. Beautiful. All right. Now, question for you, because you have really wonderful intonation. How does your left hand feel in general? Tight, relaxed, fine, anything?
Kind of tight.
Tight. Okay. Bach usually brings that out in us for cellists because what's really difficult is we don't have any rest, right? We never get a rest. We never get a moment for our fingers to stop moving. And what's really hard is that understanding of balance, going from one finger to the other. Especially when we bring that fourth finger out. So for me, I want you to look at my hand when I'm playing this. What are you noticing?
Relaxed.
Yes. Okay. Okay, good. Now let's dive a little deeper, and I want you to look at what happens from one finger to the next.
It has slight vibrato.
Slight vibrato, yeah. But what I'm trying to do is I'm going to make sure that anytime I play one note, I go and if I have a next note to play, I take my weight, it transfers up through here, and I bring it down to the next. And while I'm bringing it down to the next, that weight from the previous finger is gone. So that anytime I'm playing a finger, nothing is being held. So if I were to hold on to the weight of my other fingers, it would look like this. That already hurts me so much in my forearm, a lot. So what I like to do is balance. So once that note is being played and we go to the next note, all your weight, all your energy goes to that next note, and that previous note cannot hold on whatsoever. So I want you to take it from me kind of slowly. And it's almost going to feel like you're playing at 50% actual finger weight, finger pressure on the fingerboard. So nothing's being jammed in. If it feels like you're playing lazy in your left hand, you're doing it right. Good. Tatum, that was a good first try. Now, next thing I want you to do is I want you to think about lifting up your fingers in a way that we're just moving to the next finger so that we don't even think about an actual lift. So I want to see this. Ideally, I don't even want to see your fingers move. I don't even want to know what finger you're playing. So it should, again, should look like this. You can't even see it move, basically. That was really good. How did that feel? It probably feels really weird, right? Yeah. The biggest one for you I've noticed is this 1, 4, 2. You have to let that fourth finger go and go all that weight go into the 2. Do not hold on to the 4. So 1, balance to the 4, let go of the 1. Balance to the 2, let completely go of the 4. So we don't hold on to an actual position. You trust yourself that you're going to go from one finger to the next to the next. You know the pitches. The pitches are up here. The pitches are not here. You know what you want to play. So do the 1, 4, 2 slowly. Yes. Now I still see this. I see 1, 4, 2. I see things like grippy and tight and tense. I want to see this 1, 4. That's a big difference in this 1, 4. By doing this, I'm moving all my weight to the fourth finger. So bring your weight to that fourth finger. Yeah. So essentially, you don't even hold down 1 anymore because you don't need it. It serves no purpose to keep holding on to it. We're not going to play it for a while. You know the hand position, the hand position, the outline of it. You know it. You have to trust yourself. One more time. That was good trusting. That was really good. Did that feel kind of like scary but liberating?
Yes.
Yeah. Once you trust yourself, it's a scary feeling physically. Because physically, you're not in control, but actually you are. The more relaxed you are, the more you're in control physically. What has to happen is that instead of holding on like tension-wise, it needs to be more that you're in control mentally and that you let go of the physical nature of things. The more we try and hold on physically, the worse it gets. The tension gets worse, right? So bring that energy into the mind and less in the actual physicality of it. So with that idea, let's go slowly from the beginning because we have time to do this. We're going to distribute the weight from one finger to the next. But the next thing I want you to do is I want you to feel the vibrations of the string within each joint. And if you cannot feel that, we're going to start with just the first joint. Hold on. This very first joint. If you can't feel the vibrations in that first joint, it means you're not relaxed enough. It means that tension is still there. So we want to feel that. And if you can't feel those vibrations, it also might mean that you're shoving your finger into the actual board too much. Take it slow. That is our main goal right now, is vibrations in the first joint. Good. Let's do this one more time and let's go slower because I'm pretty sure at that tempo you wouldn't be able to balance and feel vibrations. And also I see your fingers lifting up very high. I don't want to see them lift. Good, Tatum. Now, I want you to wash my hand for this. Do you notice how my hand is kind of moving a lot in a way? But it's almost like it's bouncing off of one note to the next. And I'm sorry to do this, but I'm going to impersonate you. Tell me about my hand just there.
It has more movement compared to.
Yeah, the way I just did it, the way I was impersonating you, it was just fingers lifting up. But by doing so, it actually kind of hurts down here, right? Because we're not accompanying it with any type of movement, any type of flexibility. So we do want to feel like there's movement from finger to finger to finger, all right? One more time from the beginning. Yeah, that was great. This is great. This is something that is obviously not just for this movement, not just for Bach, it's for everything we play as cellists. And our fourth finger, especially, I think, if we don't give some type of tension to it, it can get really tight and tense, and things can get really difficult, especially fourth finger vibrato. So, for me, and by the way, how old are you?
19 years old.
Okay, cool. So I didn't start doing this stuff until I was about 23 or 24. Once you really start diving deep into it, it's so freeing. And you start to realize that by releasing that physical control, you have so much more control. You actually know what you're doing. I think too many times we think, oh, if I'm just tighter and harder and no pain, no gain, I can actually do this. And I know what I'm doing all the time. And it's the exact opposite with the string instruments. We have to be so delicate and we have to understand the vibrations of the instrument and what it needs. And we have to accompany that with some type of, I don't know how to say it, but delicate nature. You can be as strong-willed as you want mentally, but the physicality of it needs to be pretty delicate. And that can really come out. All right. So we have more time, but it's kind of a really long time to play the minuets for it in a whole entire hour. So let's do this. I want to do the whole thing again, the entire minuets, 1, 2, and then going back to 1. But I really want to hear a difference in your character. I really want to hear a difference in your sound. And what I want you to do is I want you to exaggerate like crazy the colors, the color differences between minuet and 1, with always remembering that somehow these are related to a dance. So for you as a performer, it should be your goal to draw your audience into your sound world. Don't play at us. I don't need a big sound. I'm more interested in getting into your world as an artist, as a musician, as a cellist. Bravo! That was great. That was like a lot different. That was a lot different. That had a confidence that was definitely not there in the beginning, but there was a timing in general that I thought was really wonderful. A poise. Poise is a much better word for it. There was poise. How did that feel?
Great.
Yeah, that sounded awesome. Bravo to you and bravo to your teacher. It really, really sounds great. Tatum, I don't believe I've met you before, correct?
Yes, I think we haven't met live before.
I did when you were younger.
I wasn't there yet when you went to Manila.
Oh, okay. All right. So, good. I don't feel bad. All right. Well, I really, truly hope to meet you in the future. I hope this pandemic stops quickly, or as soon as possible, and that I can get back to the Philippines, because the Philippines is one of my favorite places. And I think what really makes it my favorite place is the people, the culture is just so wonderful, and just the sheer joyfulness and happiness that I meet from everybody. It's such a wonderful, wonderful place. And so I hope to meet you in person. It was really a treat to listen to you play. Really a treat. I know it's the morning there for you. It's the night here for me. So thank you for sending me off into the night with really beautiful playing. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I've got nothing more to say. You sound great.
Thank you.
Thank
Really?
you, Dr. Kim.
Yeah. Bravo.
Thank you, Dr. Kim.
Thank you.
And is Arnold there? Arnold?
Hi, Dr.
Yeah,
Kim.
You are there. Okay, I can't see you. Hey, how are you?
Hi. How are you? Good. I'm good. I'm good.
Good. It's so good to see you, man.
Good to see
Oh
you.
gosh, it's been long.
How's your baby?
He's good. He's really sweet. He's
Yeah,
10
yeah,
months
yeah.
old. His
Good enough.
walking is crazy.
Regards to the family.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll tell Patrick you say hi. Um, yeah, how's it going in the Philippines right now? I know it's still tricky with COVID.
Yes, we're still in general quarantine.
Ugh.
So we have to observe some restrictions as of the moment.
Yeah, that
Un-
stinks. Sorry.
yeah. How about you?
You know, at first the US was doing really, really bad with COVID, but now with vaccines, we're doing really well for those who want to take them. Unfortunately, like it's so easy to get a vaccine here, but there's still a lot of people who won't take it, which is, yeah. But yeah, once you have your vaccine, you can go out and about like nothing ever happened. No mask, nothing. It's kind of nice.
Yes. We're waiting for the MSO vaccines.
Yeah, I'm hoping it comes to you guys really soon because that's way too long to be in lockdown for. You guys need to get out, definitely,
Yeah, thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for your time, Dr. Kim. Thank you so much. I
Oh
know.
my gosh, thank you. All your students sound awesome. It was funny yesterday. I'm sure you heard it. And I was asking everyone who they studied with, and I started realizing, oh, everybody's a student of Arnold's.
Yeah, my intermediate students.
No, they
Yeah.
sound fantastic. And it was a pleasure hearing them and working with them. So bravo to you.
Thank you again
Yeah.
for your time.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day. It's nighttime for me, so I will be going to sleep soon. So
Have
it
a
was
good
lovely
rest.
to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. It was so nice to see you again.
Yeah, pleasure.
Yeah, well, I think we'll see you again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Bye, Jenna. See you.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for watching this morning session of the Strings Masterclass series. We will be live again later at 2 o'clock in the afternoon here at the Manila Symphony Orchestra Music Academy YouTube channel. You may also catch the um, solo and chamber masterclasses at the Manila Symphony Orchestra YouTube channel and Manila Symphony Junior Orchestra YouTube channel. Thank you once again and see you all later. Bye.